Okay, so it's been a little bit since we did our last review together, but if we look at this, I see you're on Widow, which, that's good news there because I remember we talked a lot about Widow duels, when you can peek, when you can't peek, etc. How has that felt implementing? Do you feel like you've made good gains on our topic since the last session?
Yes and no.
Okay.
With I feel like I've done better. I don't know how good the gains are. I guess we'll see, but
That's fine.
I'm kind of in the same range, the 24-ish, 23-ish. I actually
Okay.
did end up climbing into platinum and just dipped right back down.
That's fine. So we're not necessarily expecting that every single thing we improve at is going to give us massive SR gains. Like that's easier
Right.
to do when you're working on bigger concept stuff like peeking when the opponents are looking at your friends, etc. Like that's easier when you're working at bigger concept stuff. But really we're looking to stack multiple habits. Like improvement is a
Mhm.
process and it becomes, hey, I'm going to stack this peak timing habit. Hey, I'm going to stack this holding my crosshair at the right height so that there's smaller flicks for me to get on the target. Holding the angle where I expect them to appear, etc. You start stacking habit after habit, and it's the culmination of those that causes you to go up. We're not counting on any one
Ah,
individual habit to be like, yes, this is the habit to take me from gold
this
to
is the
plat.
one.
This is like, the guide of
Right.
this is the two habits to take you from diamond to masters. No,
Right.
those differ from person to person. So we're
Correct.
stacking them, so I'm not worried. So really it is, do you feel like you've made some gains there? And it sounds like that's a yes. So it might be time to
Mhm.
find the next, but we're going to look at it because we might instead go, hey, we've seen improvement, but I want to go deeper, and this is how you go deeper. So we'll take a
Okay.
look.
One shot. Perhaps in the hands of an amateur.
Okay, so you are a double poke DPS setup with Ryan Zarya Bro. Of course you are, because it's gold. That's fine. Sorry, I know how attached gold are to their Ryan Zarya tank comps, so
That's what I've heard and experienced.
I like it. You're taking a different angle and you're going as they are clearly looking at your team. You might be an instant early here, but you see the shot, so I think you're going to take it, and you're very safe with the shot where you're taking it from. So this is good. Okay, that's unfortunate. That's just a practice, mechanical skill thing, etc. It looks like you sort of
Mhm.
tried to like very perfectly, carefully line up the shot,
Mhm.
and people just won't stay still long enough for that. So this does become a little more about your flick practice. Like if you look at this, I'm going to slow it down.
Mhm.
The Zen is the shot you want, and the shot is there right now. You don't have to take it right now, but that shot is there right now if you want to take it. It's there right now. It's there right now. And you see how you're like trying to go find this perfect shot rather than do, well, maybe you are going to do a flick. You see how I'm moving this at quarter speed, but it looks like you're almost trying to find this shot where you can line up your crosshairs over it, confirm it's over it, and then take the shot. And I can promise you that's not, break that habit. That's not something you expect to happen. Like, yes, you know, if you were actually a, contract killer, blah, 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 yes, you'd be going, okay, let me find the moment when they're not moving, they're not going to be moving, let me take my shot. Not that I coach those guys. But
Mhm.
in
Right.
Overwatch, these games are not that long. They're longer than 3.5 minutes up here, but they're not that long. So it becomes a case of you're going to have to hit a flick. And if you miss your flick, that's fine. You missed your flick. You move on. You didn't get your easiest shot while they weren't paying attention. Hopefully, you'll hit the follow up shot. But you're not going
Ah.
to be able to get this. Let me just find this perfect shot. Like, yes, your first shot matters, and it's easier to hit, but it's still going to have to be a flick. You're not going to get to just line up the perfect one. People just don't stay still that long. They move too much. The game's too fast. Your team's going to push them. So you can't try to be like, I'm going to mouse over and then wait, and when I'm sure it's perfect, I'm going to do it. This is a perfect shot right here. You just flick it and hit it. And, if you miss, no big deal. Okay?
All right.
Okay, those are fine. And your follow-up shots, you're going for flicks there, so no problem. Okay. I don't necessarily love that mine, but it's going to work. Yeah, you pressed a mate. Had a health pack. But it worked, so we'll take it. Your better play was to angle out over here, where you've still got this thing between you and the enemy, right? So you've still got this, so the enemies can't see you, and she's going to have to go a greater distance, so you can comfortably take one more shot attempt at her before you're in SMG mode. Make sense?
Yes.
And, you know, if your grapple comes back, maybe you go to the mini. Maybe you go up here and go, okay, I'm going to ignore you and contribute to the fight. Because if the May's over here and you can effectively leave and the May can't hit an icicle on you because, you know, you go up here, you close the angle a bit, well, she's out of the fight and she doesn't have any movement to get back to the fight and you'll win the fight before she shows up again, right?
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Anyone want to?
I would have preferred that you look up here, though, for shots. I like the different angle that you get here. Like, this was okay, you're being safe, etc., but I like this. This is more threatening. If they're here, they're like, oh, I'm getting shot from this direction, and I'm getting shot from this direction. And, you know, maybe you transition at some point forward, but this is more scary to them if they've got to worry about this. Plus, it's like at the beginning of the match, where when your team was here, and you had what were some, you know, good shot attempts, conceptually anyways, from here, that's good. That's better than I'm shooting from the same angle as my team. If you're shooting from over here, it's the same as how you started the match.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, I can live with this. Yeah, so you're very low health as Widow, the 175 health, so when it comes to a Tracer like that, I'd honestly just walk closer into your team. Let your Reinhardt, your Zarya, your Anna protect you.
Okay.
You must really. Damn.
My ultimate is almost ready.
No one can hide from my
Tells you
sight.
that's safe. Unfortunate. Yeah, so you saw that the Tracer got flashbanged and didn't go down, so you don't want to tunnel this too hard. You want to have some awareness of, is she still here? Did she come right back after her recall, etc. You were a little too focused on this fight. I like that you took like a shot or two into this fight, but after that I want you to check to see if after her recall the Tracer is back in here.
Okay.
You got healed to full, your team has control of this, you can go right back up here and go, oh, let me see if it's there, and if there's still a Genji here, that's fine, you can drop right back with your team. But you can tell if the Genji's there or not because your eyes are still going, everyone's filled in, so you just go right back up. The position is just too good.
Heroes never bow. Fire at will.
Beautiful. Good target prioritization. That Zen was low enough health that you can just go, hey, I'll body shot him and less likely to miss, but that's fine. That's definitely being nitpicky. And it was clean up, so it wasn't really going to matter anyways. Good. Though, the funny thing here is going to be... you've got 5 ammo in your clip, which is just kind of funny. You've got a lot of dead time here with 5 ammo in your clip that you could have reloaded during, which, you know, just a little bit of awareness there. Not a big deal. And and then do you rotate up to the high ground? I actually would have liked you to rotate up to the high ground. I liked this. I liked leaving this spider mine here, but if you had actually then rotated up to the high ground where you have a little bit of a different angle, a little bit more influence, that would have been nice. Because the Tracer now knows that you're playing from here, right? She got hit. She has an idea. So changing your location, good. Plus you weren't getting a ton of valid shots from here. I say as you one-tap the Zen. One-tap the Zen. One-tap the Moira. Yeah, so this is exactly what I was saying, where, hey, the Tracer shows back up. And Tracer has two things. A, Tracer knew where you were. B, Tracer has a little more of a tough time getting up to high ground. Doesn't have a super tough time because the stairs are right here. But if you're here, you definitely are aware when Tracer comes up the stairs, right? So doesn't catch you unawares.
Yeah, I do that one.
Okay. You tried. You tried.
Yeah, a little late.
All good. You had another spider mine that you could have 180 thrown as you were, hopping forward there. This is a lot of bunny hopping. No one can shoot at you right now, but it's a lot of bunny hopping.
Yeah.
I'm taking care of you. You must like me.
I want to see where you go this time.
Keep pushing forward.
Enemy in my sight.
Okay.
My ultimate is charging.
Much better.
Okay. That's where your team is. So I don't necessarily mind this, but your McCree and your Zarya just walked through here. So this, now it's a different angle, but it wasn't a super strong angle. And again, it's through the low ground here. I really do more often want you going up here to the high ground. If you look at their team, they're annoying in that they've got Genji and Tracer to bother you, but long sight lines are your friend right here, right? Like if you go right here, you can still drop back down here and get to the health pack pretty quickly. You can also grapple over to here and drop down and be with your team. Like something like this, where this is your cover, is going to be a more optimal long-term position where you go, hey, I've got my shots in here, etc. I've got the higher angle to go in on people. I don't mind this. Like this was totally fine with me as an alternative angle, but I don't want this to be the only angle you're willing to play from. In my mind, this is an alternative. So, like, hey, they're expecting me up here. I'm actually over here, or they're expecting me up here. I'm actually over here type thing. Like these are different angles, not like this is your most powerful angle, I would argue, at least in this situation, or maybe depending on, you can actually get up on here or get up on here, and these are your more traditional angles. Like Tracer just hates it when you're up here. Genji has a hard time getting to you when you're here. Something like this is your power angle, and the others are, okay, your team is pushing in, and you guys weren't defended against these angles because the places that defend against this angle do not defend against this angle, right?
Okay.
So that's sort of what you're thinking. You're not just going, this is my default angle, because, the stairs are kind of in the way. That's kind of annoying. You can get people when they're coming back from their spawn, but the stairs are sort of in the way. Tracer has easier access to you. Your preference is somewhere up here on the high ground, even something over here, etc. But this is going to be a bit tough for you to play into. Fortunately, they're still on brawl tanks for you, but you are playing into Tracer Genji.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
Do you hardlock Widow, or do you rotate between the hit scan heroes? I'm fine either way. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I usually hardlock unless it's like places like Hanamura.
Okay.
What's the other one? Oasis.
Sure.
Lijiang Tower.
No
Got it.
one
I'll
can
play that
hide
too,
from
so
my
just-
sight.
So a pretty firmly widow player, but not. So see this? Your team came through here and is now threatening from the exact same angle that you are. That's kind of
Mhm.
unfortunate, right? Whereas if you'd
Right.
followed behind your team, they're giving you safety as you get to where you want, and then you let them keep going, and they go down here, and you pop up here and just kind of go, hey, I'm shooting from this angle, my team's shooting from this angle, we're great. Or you follow your team to here, and once your team goes in, you grapple across and go, hey, yeah, I've got a different angle than my team. Like, they're going to
I
turn around to
see.
deal with your team, and you're going to pellet them in the back, and Tracer is going to take forever to get to you.
I see.
This will help.
60 seconds remaining. I'm going for the Christmas Eve. Watch it. Heroes never die.
Step right. Not fast enough.
Okay. I don't like quite how little respect you paid that Genji after you ran from him. Running from him is correct, but you do want to go, hey, is there a shot to take on him, whether that's SMG shots or a zoom shot, etc. Like, you do want to continue to threaten him because he will come find you again. And ultimately, you solve that by going into your team's ults, including the Valk there, but don't pay zero respect to them after you run.
All right.
Nice. So what would be a different angle than your team that might be threatening here?
Maybe the top right.
Yeah, that's an option. So that's an option, and that's totally valid. The thing that you run into is this team is probably going to be retreating. They're probably not going to come out and fight again. They're probably going to try to go this way. So you could go top right here. Or what you could do is you could just hoof it and try to go here and go, are there any shots that I can take as they're trying to retreat, as they sort of get here? Is there any cheeky pickoff I get like that? And then if I get into trouble, I'll just grapple out or grapple back to my team, etc. So it was a little bit of a trick question that I gave you there. Yes, this is the right answer sort of to the question that I posed, except that I don't expect this team to push back out like this.
Okay.
You could transition here if you think they might, though, and they might, because, it could be that in gold that is what they're going to do, even after you've checked off the checkpoint, and then, yeah, this is correct. But if you transition up here and you don't immediately see them, then you might go, okay, let me get cheeky and see, is there something? There's not? Okay, let me leave. Or, oh, there is, but I missed the shot, and they immediately poked me back, let me leave, etc.
Okay.
Merci.
I've secured the payload. Let's move it out.
Good attempt. SMG, SMG. Okay.
Down.
Leave. There you go. That'll keep him honest. Almost. It's okay, it was the right idea. You see how you did this? You went and opened a separate angle from your team so that going after your team was punishing, or if they went after you, they get hooked by a roadhog or something. That was good.
Right.
No one can hide from my sight.
These eyes were probably a little bit early. Remember when we talked about eyes last time, Infra-Sight, where you sort of want your Infra-Sight as a team is committing to the fight, and this is a good 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds before the teams are committed to the
Okay.
fight. So this is better than what we've seen before. When I saw your Infra-Sight back on Anubis, you used it right as or right after you capped first, and those were just not very good Infra-Sight. This is much better. This is like 700% better, but there's room for it to be 40% better still, we'll say. So
Okay. All right.
huge improvement, but let's just get those extra 4 seconds of value.
Fair enough.
Okay, so this is aggressive. I don't dislike it, but this is aggressive. It's going to be sink or swim.
60 seconds remaining.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't actually mind that you missed the shot. Like, I really don't. I mind a little bit more that we have this ammo problem creeping up again, where that was your last shot. And now you're going to go into a reload while on the super thing when you had a ton of time to do your reload as you were walking through here, right? So
Right.
I mind that a little bit because this is a high risk, high reward thing, and you missed the shot, and that's just going to happen. Sometimes this is a carry, sometimes this is a throw, and because you missed the shot as throw, don't mind. Do mind that now, while you're in this super high risk, high reward position, you have to commit more time to a reload. Oh, she doesn't even know you shot at her. That's wow, wow, you got another chance. Okay, I mean you got the Zen, which is great, but. So you see the blue, you see it. The right thing would have actually been to transition through here and threaten from this angle. It's less, it's less good than what you had before, but you can transition here. It's safe. It's with your team, etc. And then when you see an opening, maybe you grapple up here, or you grapple up here, etc.
Right. Okay.
And if you were gonna pop her mind, you popped her mind instantly with a shot, so that she doesn't then later know. It provides less value to her if you pop it instantly.
30 seconds remaining.
Nice.
Right up.
Heroes never die.
So little slow. So Reinhardt is locked into that animation as he does his shatter, right?
Right.
So where his head is going to be. With a little practice, where his head is going to be during that entire animation, and there's nothing he can do to change where it's going to be during that whole animation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pretty easy to put 300 damage into him during that, and generally worth it. Like if you don't have any other super easy shot, just take the shot. He's not going to shield it.
Okay.
And sure, it's not going to eliminate him, but it's a lot of pressure back on his team to be like, oh, our Reinhardt is suddenly missing 300 health. It is gonna, we're gonna have to spend a lot of resource to get that back. Nice.
Into the iris.
It's fine. Moira's a fine target here. I probably wouldn't have SMG'd that. I'd probably say keep going for your shots. Nice. There you go. Good stuff. So the two biggest things we've seen so far, much better job with the infrared, and we've seen more of a when your team's doing stuff, you're doing stuff type thing, which is good. But the two big things we're seeing is, hey, vary up your angles. Like, go figure out, hey, I want to vary up my angles, have different angles than my team, but also not always go back to the same angle, which, we saw a lot of that on second. But the other thing that we're seeing is, you've got some situations where you're going to go take your angles. That's a good time to check, wait, do I have a full clip? Because there's some stuff there. There was twice on one attack round where you got caught with, one shot or 5 shots, and that's silly in a 35-shot clip.
2, 1.
Where are you playing from? I don't think so. This isn't the right place to play from. Okay, so I don't know when the setup happened. Maybe you missed a grapple or something. Where do you want to be playing from in review here?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Probably behind me, up on that, or
yep.
maybe
I like that.
Up, yeah,
I like that. You could be here. You could try to be up on like this thing, but honestly, what you're probably going to just do is play from here. You don't really want to be on the same angle as your team. That's not fantastic. You're probably just going to play back here, and that's going to be fine. And you're going to do your work from here. And, if you need to drop and play low ground to get a wider sight of the opponents, that's acceptable. You do that. You can still grapple to get out if they push you, etc.
Okay.
Yeah, that tracer takes longer to be a problem for you Okay. And where should your mind be right now?
Probably by the stairs.
Exactly, because Tracer is one of the people you're most worried about bothering you, and she's going to come through the stairs. So if you put your mind like right here or something, decent chance of catching her.
Right.
I need a healing.
So yeah, early warning system might have helped there.
Really like me.
Okay. Where could you go right now? Where could you go? Because you don't want to be in the thick of the brawl here as Widow.
Just back up, maybe.
You could go right back up here. I'd be worried that Tracer is up here. I don't know where
So
Tracer
maybe
is.
behind me then, up on that little ledge.
Where is Tracer? Tracer is right up here. So yeah, we didn't want to go up here. Up on what ledge? Up here?
No, back
Here?
down to the left.
Over here?
No. No, I mean, I guess any of those are okay.
Well, yeah, what I'd probably recommend is, hey, if you can transition to here, it's not fantastic, but it's got you some threat over the point. You could potentially grapple over to here, see if you see any shots, look for, 2-3 seconds. If you see shots, take them. If you don't see shots, you could try to get more risky, drop, swing wide, and take out their back line, right? And then hopefully you're close to having a grapple back, so you can go back up here or go right back to the core of your team if a Tracer shows up. Those would be things you could do on Widow. They're high risk, but it's high risk, high reward. Whereas this would generally be the more conservative position, but there's a Tracer up here, so we don't really want to do that. Nice. Now absolutely. Grapple right back up here and just, dink the Zen and go, okay, we win. We're back in this, guys. Okay, you don't win, but we're back in this, guys. Okay, now you need to leave so that your Mercy can get out with you. She's not going to take it. Okay.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
Gonna take high grounds. Blocking the tunnel. I like it.
Back, guys. Hands up.
Okay. So, what is the enemy composition?
They have a Reaper.
Reaper, Tracer, and heavy tanks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, against some comps, you'd have to worry about them pushing here, them pushing here, them pushing through here, and then pushing main, right? Those are all things you'd have to worry about. Against this comp, Tracer could push around through the back of here or something. Tracer could push through here or something. There's not going to be a Widow or a Genji or an Echo or Pharah that shows up here, so you don't need to be worried about having this angle closed. In general, this angle is actually going to be really hard for them to contest, right? If you look at their comp.
Okay, yeah.
Zen's the only one who can really shoot at you if you're up here. No one else can get up here. So once your team is more forward, you can think about that angle. But what I'm talking about right now is crosshair placement where you're thinking about. And I like where you're thinking about. You're thinking about this one, and this is the most powerful spot that they could rotate through. So that's good. I just wanted you to be aware of if there was another Widow or an Echo or something, you might be thinking about here instead. But this is good. He'll never push that. Now that he knows where you are, he'll never push that as Reaper. Okay, he's feeding. Okay, just take out Zen. You tried, that's fine. Good. Just the reload. Do a quick check to your right for the Reaper again, but that's fine. Reaper's down, doesn't matter, fine.
I am on fire. Come here.
Fine. Go back and get your heals. That was well done.
Let's get you back out there. Hello there.
Hurry, my friends. I am your shield.
No one can hide from my sight.
So this is early. Again, this is better than before, but this is early. If you if you widow sighted when all 6 of them were standing right here and they went, oh shoot, fine, we won't push for 15 more seconds, I'd live with that. I'd prefer that you
Ah,
widow sight them when they're actually approaching, so that you're aware of if the tracer's taking the flank, so that your team can see them behind walls and all that stuff.
okay.
But this one, they're still a good 4 or 5 seconds from even being in a place where they can push, right? They're minding their Zen back
Mhm.
here, and you don't know that until you pop the sights, but you kind of can, because you did see the kill feed, and you kind of get a mental clock going in the kill feed of, okay, when someone shows up at the kill feed, they're in here for 10 seconds, and then it's going to take them, 5 seconds to get back. So you could be going,
I see.
this is about when they should want to push, and now I pop Widow's Sight, and they can't, or they can, but it's, hugely uphill.
Okay.
Is that where your McCree is going to play? Okay. So if your McCree is playing here, do you want to play here?
Probably not.
Okay.
Well, maybe. I guess. Probably. I was thinking yes, because
Okay.
then if the tracer came, you'd be able to stun it
So
for me.
McCree can protect you a little from the tracer if you were on top of him. That is true. That is true. Still, though, not worth it. Because while McCree
Okay.
protects you a little bit from the tracer if you're on top of him, if you're at wider, different angles, like you're here and he's here, that's not great. But as an example, you still have line of sight on each other. And if a tracer's on top of either of you can shoot at the tracer, right? So you can still
I
peel
see.
for each other with your weapon. You just can't do it with flashbang.
I
But
see.
also,
Okay.
if you're here and McCree's here, it denies the opponent's angles. Like if the opponents were to get to cart here, it's like, oh shoot, there's something over here and there's something over here. This is awkward for us. I can't hold my Rhine shield in both directions, or I do, and it's like, okay, now I can't push any further forward because if I do, I'm not blocking the Widow anymore. If I do, I'm not blocking the McCree anymore. You want those nice angles like that. This isn't great
Mm,
positioning. It's just illustrative for what I'm talking about here.
right.
So again, you could wander up to here and then do okay, I'm going to go to here, and once they actually start pushing cart, I'm going to pop up here, and now you have wide aggressive angles, and you can still protect your McCree, he can still protect you. If you drop, you can still protect him, he can protect you, all that good stuff, right?
Correct. Now, I
Cool.
do have a question about this.
Sure.
What about, so say, I get up to there.
Hmm.
What about like for heals? Like say I grapple up there and
Hmm.
they start focusing me down. You know, that seems like like it's not, I guess, hyper aggressive positioning, but like it's
Is this
kind
person
of
focusing you down?
is what?
Is this person? Oh, sorry, I'm using my epic pen and it doesn't work. Who on this team is focusing you down when you're on top of that tank?
Uh no
So
one I can think of.
Zen
Maybe Reaper TP
Zen
up
can
there.
meaningfully hit you. If Reaper TP's up there, if Reaper starts to TP up there, one of two things are going to happen. If you're very, very confident in your aim, you're going to headshot him the instant his invulnerability frames end, and
Hmm.
he's going to go down, right? Or
Hmm.
you're going to go the instant he starts teleporting, peace, I'm out, and you're just going to start running away, right?
I see. Yeah.
So that's not a super big deal. But the thing is, I wouldn't go up here right now. I
Hmm.
definitely wouldn't go up here right now. I'd go up here once the opposing team is mostly here or mostly here, because then my
I
entire
see.
team can see them. They're shooting at my entire team. And yes, I let my team sort of fight them for 2 or 3 seconds without me, but now I've got this hyper aggressive angle. And yeah, eventually the Zen's going to turn and shoot at me, but the first thing I'm going to do is try to take out the Zen. And after that, what? A Reaper and a Tracer and a Zarya are going to try to tickle me from that distance. Zarya's going to try to hit some right clicks. I think I'll be okay. Like, you're right. You're not going to get healing up here. You're not going to be able to stay up here forever. But can you stay up here for... If you immediately eliminate the Zen, can you stay up here for 5 seconds? Yeah. Can you do a lot
Okay.
of work up here from 5 seconds if the opposing team is right here? I think so, don't you?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you
Okay.
go up here and you miss your shots, not a big deal. That doesn't mean it was the wrong move. That just means you missed your shots, and that's fine. That's going to happen sometimes.
Okay. That makes sense.
I have found the enemy. Come and face me.
Okay, now you can hold your space because McCree's taking a different angle. should have angled that a little further away, but good stuff. And obviously, good job on the 2 supports there.
The battle continues.
I thought you were going to not deny Hog that hook too. He hooks people, you just eliminate them.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, thanks for holding it still for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't drop. Don't drop! And now
That
you
was
dropped
excellent.
again and you don't have grapple. Oh, you're killing me. So,
one
you
can
could,
hide
yep, I was
from
going to say,
my
you could pop
sight.
Infra-Sight now. Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah.
Damage increase. Hello.
I guarantee you your Mercy is frustrated with you after that. Like, I pocketed you for how long? But it's fine. It's fine. um, so, that's fine.
Hey,
I mean,
I'm giving you some good content for the channel.
there you go. There you go. I appreciate it. Your Mercy might not, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know, that's the sort of thing where you just want to force her out a bit. It's a bit of a shame that she got the health pack, but you know, you force her out a little bit more there. You just, I mean, hit a few more of your shots. Not a big deal.
Yeah,
You
hit the
weren't
shots.
you weren't wrong to force the fight with her when you had the pocket. It's just if you take that long to deal with her, usually your front line is going to melt because your Mercy is helping you, and that means she's not helping your front line. But that's fine. You hit the shots, or you just hit more shots there. Not a big deal.
Out there.
Good. So I'd actually press that X button for I need healing, even though you didn't need healing yet. The instant that you saw that Sombra, you know that, hey, I don't really, like, this is going to be a problem. That's like, you found a Sombra on top of you, you did find her, and that helps you, but X is sort of your, to me, Mercy button, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm about to be in trouble, and it's worth it.
Okay.
Especially when they're running double flanker like this, but it's generally worth it. And this is also sort of a case of you started fights from this position, what, 3-4 times in a row?
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of back to a, hey, we can vary up our angles a bit. We can do the, can we use this tank? Can we push up, take a quick shot here, back out, etc.
I see.
Because it makes it too easy and too fast for the Sombra and Tracer to find you.
You should be at peak performance levels. Help me.
This would have Duncan.
Good.
I need healing.
Unfortunate. So we could look at that last grapple if we want. This is a good grapple. Oh, my bad. I was thinking that we went through another one there. My bad.
Heroes never.
Crusaders!
Here I am.
So you're definitely pushing the limit of playing Widow at this point. Well, now you're not. Because, no, but I mean, but they had, now that Tracer's gone Bastion, so I changed my mind, but they were running Sombra, Tracer, and Winston. And it's like, it's gonna be tough to play into that. They're going to push you around pretty hard. But now they've got a Bastion, so hey, you're happy to stand Widow.
Healing stream engaged.
Just what I needed.
Damage
Good.
boost engaged.
60 seconds remaining.
There you are.
Be hyper aware of that Winston you saw. You want to poke him out. Okay. Your hog should be able to handle him. That's fine. I actually don't love your dropping here. It was the more conservative play, but your team was down by 2. So if you were going to get a stop on this point, it kind of had to be off the back of you going, I'm just going to hit 2 headshots, or I'm going to hit a headshot and then between the headshot and our spawn. Like, you sort of needed to go, even if you wait it back up, wait a second, etc., and then peek in and hit a shot, something like that, that could potentially be fine. But I don't think your team has much chance of holding this if you didn't force this. So it might seem like, hey, I'm telling you to be aggressive, to take a risk. I am, but I'm asking you to do it because your team is behind. The only way back into it is that. You follow?
Okay. Yep.
Cool.
Apagando las luces.
Good job interrupting that hack.
No one can
That literally
hide
saved your
from
Mercy's
my
life.
sight.
For a, for a moment.
Right.
Je ne vais plus te lâcher.
Good. Okay, well, if they actually stand still for you, sure, you can mouse over them and then left click. But you just had to know that you were never going to get that angle, and it was fine to grapple to here because A, you can go into spawn if you have to, and B, he doesn't have another leap, right? Like, he only has 1 leap. So after he leaps, if he leaps to get to you and you can grapple out the instant you're at the top or halfway up the stairs, he can't follow you, and you can just poke him until he leaves. Or if he walks at you and you don't get him down in time, you just go into spawn and heal.
True.
This is not your time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Heroes never die.
Où en étais-je?
This is not the end. 30 seconds remaining. Time is running out. Everyone get on the fence.
Totally get wanting to shoot the Moira, but as soon as you heard the little Tesla crackle over here, you needed to go, wait, there's a Winston close to me? I better poke that out immediately. Like, you lose to Winston unless you get damage done before he gets to you. So you have to be like, oh, shoot, I'm damaging that now.
Come on, everyone. Just a little bit longer.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Tracer, not happening. Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing too wild there other than, again, if you change your location a bit, it's possible that while you're changing your location, you'll run into a flanker, but if you change your location a bit, it's going to take the flankers in general longer to find you when you're setting up. It's going to take a hit scan that wants to peek at you longer to find you because they peek expecting to see you in one place, and then you shoot them from another, etc.
I see. Okay.
Ready for battle.
And your Infra-Sights have still been much improved, but we've got another, 3 to 4 seconds of value we can get out of them.
3,
Okay.
2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
I will get us home safe.
Ouch. I'm going to slow this down just so that we know what your reaction time was. You're already taking damage. He laid a trap for you, and he laid a good trap for you. I still don't think you get out even if you react better. You were a touch slow in your reaction, and you also didn't, like, turn or do any damage to him. So mostly we're just going to call that a good play on his part. But there was a little room to make him work a bit harder for it.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry too much about that one, though. Like, it was an outplay, but it was a very good outplay on his part.
Walk it off. It's set at your service.
10 seconds
Got
remaining.
it. Ready for duty. Healing it up.
Okay.
Round. Initiating match.
Justice ain't gonna dispense it.
Some Kree, okay.
Attackers incoming. Ready for 5, 4,
Playing with your core here.
1. Attackers
This should still be in time. If this is the positioning you want. You just don't know if it's the positioning you want.
We get through this.
enemy contact.
I wouldn't stay here now. This was potentially okay when it was you and your Zarya and your Mercy all here, etc., and then your Mercy left, and I saw you didn't like it, so you stayed back here, like maybe to catch a Winston that jumped up on your Zarya or something. Maybe that was the plan, which I'm okay with. But once your Zarya leaves, unless you're really into, I'm going to punish this Winston when he jumps up here, I don't think you're getting much value out of being here.
Okay.
And if you were saying, hey, I want to have an aggressive angle on them when they push in, that's okay with me, but you're peeking way too early if that's what your case was. If that was the case,
Okay, yeah,
you
that
needed to
was the
peek.
case.
Got
but
it.
Okay.
Totally fine. In that case, they needed to be here, or they needed to be here, if you follow what I'm saying. Like,
okay.
they're way too early, and what's going to happen is the Winston is going to jump on you with a pocket, and you're going to have to immediately roll out this way. That's what should happen. You got more work done than you should have, but hey, good stuff. Rotate up to your high ground. I can live with that. I'd peek for a second and press X to tell your Mercy what you want. Yeah, your Mercy healing your Reinhardt is less valuable than your Mercy. Okay, Anna got you. That's fine. Fine.
10 seconds remaining.
Let's watch that. Good. But why though? You've done this twice now where you've reloaded at 3 ammo as you've gone across here. Like, did you think, oh no, there's definitely not going to be enemies here for another half second, so this reload is fine? If that's the case, stay behind here as you're finishing your reload. If it's not the case, like, why are you out from behind cover while you're still reloading? Yeah.
Not sure.
Good. Roll. Good.
I'm taking this round.
Don't watch that.
We'll just pretend nothing happened. Oh, look, you lost both your cooldowns. I think so. I think it was glitched. You just lost both of them.
Yep. You're right.
3-shot reload there is probably just a fan instead. And there's a bubble to deal with anyways. Why not?
I am on fire!
Fire at will.
Good.
It's high noon.
So you found as close a game as you could for this one, I see.
Yep.
Okay, so that's fine. So, there's not too much on the McCree there. We talked about this and some stuff, but mostly this is going to be a Widowmaker thing. And the big things that we're thinking about, one second. Sorry. The big things that we're going to be thinking about with your Widowmaker is, can we further increase on something that we hit on last time, which was, hey, your Infra-Sights, they look much, much better. But if you're defensively using Infra-Sights, you want to either use them right as they round the corner and start to push in, or literally
Mhm.
right before they do, so that they go, okay, fine, we'll wait another full 15 seconds or whatever, as opposed to 5 seconds early. And we saw
Okay.
that a couple times. We also saw you used one Infra-Sight at the end of second tier, like when your team was still down 2, when you were in it. Like that felt like a thrown away ult, where you're just like, oh, I'm doing this, and I kind of expect you to swap heroes afterwards. But
Uh,
I don't know if you remember that one, but
yeah, I do.
there were a couple Infra-Sight, and you didn't have to switch heroes afterwards. I just expected that if you were using your ult there, it was because you're going, well, if I don't get value, I'm going to switch type thing. So there were a couple Infra-Sights where I'm like, hey, that's not great. And then a little bit on your defense, but especially on your attack, don't have to go here every time. Totally fine to mix it up here. But you can go here, you can go here, you can transition over to here. You can likewise on attack, if we go back to first, you can do some stuff for, not moving fast enough. You can play from here. You can play from here. You can even potentially transition up to here and play from here. Like, it's okay to go, hey, what is the good high ground that's available to me that puts me at a different angle than my team, but that I'm peaking at a time, like we reviewed last time, that I'm peaking at a time when my team is also engaged, etc. So if you
Okay.
think more about, hey, I want to vary if I want to vary my angles more often, I don't want to always peak the same spots, I think that's going to help you, and then continue to drill in on that Infra-Sight timing.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Cool. Do you have any questions, anything specifically that you'd like to go over?
Um, no, I think that was pretty much it. I yeah, no, that was pretty much it. Everything was pretty clear.
Okay. Okay. If you have any questions, I'm happy to go for another few minutes. We started a few minutes late, and I'm happy to go them if you got them. But I think we mostly covered what made sense to cover on this map, so I think we're good.
Yeah, actually I do.
Shoot.
Those do you have now I know this is one of the rare games where it doesn't matter how good you aim, you could still lose. It
Sure.
doesn't really
Sure.
I guess sway.
Well, it matters, but
It
go ahead.
matters, but right. But I guess you look at people like what ANS or ANS
Hmm.
on the shock, and he's like a god widow, but he's still lost.
Sure.
So, do you have any like, I guess, training or not training, but like what do you recommend? Because I'm not confident in my flicks at all, and I don't even know if my sensitivity is
Got
right
it.
for me.
Got it.